Feel safe, feel secure. ATA Security.
Hello and welcome again to Relax with Watercolour. Today we're going to go to the Ox Mountains in Sligo, and our painting will be a bog scene. Now, I've had so many people contacting us about to do the bog scene again, so today we're going to do that. First of all, we have a scene here, and I'm going to just do a small little bit of drawing in this. And all I'm going to put in is just there's a small little river coming through the bog. So we're just putting it in like this, and it's not going to be a main part of the painting, but it will be a part of it. So I just want to capture just the essence of that. It'll come around here slightly like that, and there'll be a little bit of gravel here. There's a small little bridge which I want to put in, and it's just going to be just a very sort of almost token bridge, because the main thing is I want to get is the bog scene. Now that's more or less all of the bridge that you're going to be able to see. It's just rocks really and one side of a wall. There we are. Very simple. And then we will have, back here then, we will have just a little bit of horizon line. Not a terribly straight one, but that's not what we want. Now, our first colours, I'm going to keep them fairly simple for the sky. It's just a small little piece of ultramarine blue. Don't need very much of it. And just before we do that, we're going to wet our sky. Then after the ultramarine blue, I'm just going to put in a little colour called sap green. Now, we have some distant trees showing in the photograph, and I want to just get those in. Just a small piece. Now, first of all, we start off in our traditional fashion. We wet the paper right down to the horizon line. And we're in the new studio, and this is a fantastic venue and location that we're in now. Go into a little bit of paint, the ultramarine blue, and again, the whole emphasis on this painting is the bog scene. So we don't want too much on the sky. The sky has got to be fairly quiet because we have a busy landscape underneath. So all I'm really doing is just putting a small little piece of colour in like that, and that's all. We leave it at that. Now I'm just going to move this around. Just let that run very gently, because the main emphasis, as I said, is on the bog. So I'm just letting that run up there like that. We turn. And even while this is wet, I'm going to try and get the trees and the distant trees. So I'm going to do that while that sky is still wet. Just taking a detail brush and just a small little bit of green. And I want it to run into the sky, so it'll be very, very quick. And once we have our sky dried, I'll then work a little bit more on the trees. But these will look like they're way distant trees. Just push them up a little bit more like that. And to see how more techniques and how we do things, it's all in the book, Watercolour Made Easy, Relax with Watercolour. Just push them up like that. And just one or two over here. Just a little reference point for the trees. And that's it. My sky is ready to dry. Now, just take my hair dryer and dry it off. Now I'm going to move this up to the easel. Now, there's a couple of things I have to do here, but I want to get the river in first, and then we'll concentrate on the bog scene. So I'm just taking my hake brush. You do it from side to side like that. Now, if you come straight down like this, what happens is it looks like a road. So you want to just go side to side, a little bit in there, and you're picking up the colours from the sky. Let's bring that around like this. There we go. And that'll disappear underneath the bridge, like that. Now, I'll put a few rocks in there a little bit later on when it's dried off a little bit. Now, I'm going to get some more of the trees in here first. Again, I'm just going to use my hake brush. I'll just clean this brush first. And take my greens again. Here we are. And this time it's going to be a little bit stronger than that, so I just want to make sure that it goes in like this. Just give it the impression of trees. Like that. And a little bit back here as well. Very distant trees. There we go. Now, I'm just going to scrape in one or two little tree trunks that you'd pick up. And I'm just taking a detail brush and adding a little bit of blue into it and a little bit of green. And again, just push it in here and there. And the more detail you do, what you're actually doing, you're bringing those trees to look like they're coming closer. The minute you start adding detail, they're coming closer. Yeah. Like that. A couple over here. Now we're ready for our main part of the bog, which is going to be, the first colour I'm going to start off with is yellow ochre. Great colour. I use quite a lot of yellow ochre. So just give my brush a quick wash. Ultramarine, blue, another great colour, and yellow ochre. So yellow ochre first of all. Now I'm just going to get it in like this. It's going to be very strong. If you find that it's too strong, like that's too strong for me, for what I want to do with it. So all you do is add more water. Just so take some clean water and just take it on the palette like that, and then go back into those areas, and as you can see there, it softens it up. But there's an awful lot to happen to this yet, so I'm just getting that colour in like that. There we are. And the same on this side now. Let's get some more water in there. Get it back here, level that all up. There we go. Now at this stage, it doesn't really look anything at all. We have a lot more colours to go in there yet. So we'll just get this base colour on, like that. Now, we're going to start adding other colours now to create the bog scene. And another great colour is a colour called burnt sienna. I'm just going to put a little bit of that out. And we're going to start adding that in here and there. It was amazing how many people, after they've seen this bog scene, that wrote to us to ask us about the bog scene and where it was and how you do it. And Again, it obviously invoked a lot of memories for people. Because when we're going around the country painting, a lot of people, they refer to the painting that I did and how it brought back a lot of memories for them. So, burnt sienna, and as you can see there, there's these little gaps of white, these little pieces that in the process of doing your painting, they just happen. And when that happens, you can take the brush like this and you can just start to build up on those little bits like that, here and there. And this is these are light tones. So you start off with your light tones at the back. You're going to give the impression that it's distant. I'm just taking a little bit more water into that. And I'm going to put the same. And now you can run the brush like this. Gives the impression that there's a lot more of it at the back. And then as you come forward, then you can open it up like that. Put some back there. And then bring it forward. Again, add in a bit more colour. Keep it all in balance. And we have a couple of more colours to go into the bog scene. Now, a little bit more water. And as you come nearer, you start making your grasses and all your different reeds and all of those things. They start getting bigger because you're getting closer. And around the bridge and all, there'll be a good few around that, because there wouldn't be, less people would have walked in that area, particularly close to the wall. Now we're going to keep the build-up going. I'm going to start adding in a little bit of indigo into the burnt sienna. And that's going to darken it down for me. A little bit more water, a bit of indigo, and into the burnt sienna. And that, as you can see, you get these dark tones like that. And again, now this is going to be a little bit wet, but not too worried about that yet. I want to get these dark tones in here and there, and now the bog scene will start to look more realistic looking. Especially to get it near the little stream running through the bog, like that. Here we go. And we'll do the same on this side now. The crossover there.
Watercolour Painting Made Easy by Harry Feeney at selected bookstores nationwide. Watercolour Painting Made Easy by Harry Feeney at selected bookstores nationwide.
And welcome back to the programme. We're going to do Harry's helpful hints. I'm just going to show you how to do some figures which will be put into the landscape. So all I'm doing is I'm just taking my brush and I'm just doing the top of the shoulders first. You can square them off a little bit and then just bring them down like this. Get some more water. And all you're really doing is you're imagining in your own mind's eye the way someone would be standing. It's an elbow there, it's the legs coming down, and the other leg there. And you can put one leg, you can send the knee out there, stop off there, and you can get a foot in, like that. And then you can get the little head in here. Careful with heads. A lot of people always make them too big. So that would be one. That's a figure just standing, looking. We We can bring the elbow out here. Now if you want to do a figure sort of bent over, maybe doing a bit of work, you get the shape like this, and you have the leg, knee, and that'll be a foot there, and the other leg here. So the weight would be on this leg. You can cover up, if you're not too sure about how this all should be looking, you can cover up this area here. But let's get the head on first. Like that. Put the arm out from the shoulder, and maybe you'd have a slan or something like this at the turf. And you could bend the elbow here for the other arm. And if you weren't too confident about the feet, you'd always cover them up in the bog scene, like that. And now we're going to put these figures into our landscape. Get some greens. Again, everything is still in a build-up stage. And so like again with the green, you can just quickly run it across like that, and you get that tone in like that. That'll soften everything up. But be very careful, because what you don't want to happen is for the whole thing to start to run. And again, so I'm just trying to get into areas where that has sort of almost dried. Still a little bit wet there. Not too worried about that. Now, on the bridge, you get some green here, especially in around the wall. And you don't have to do every bit of it. I mean, that could be just where a downtrodden area where people walk a lot. You don't have to have every single inch of it covered in colour. Now, that's starting to shape up nicely. I'm just going to start to highlight a few of those areas there. And while that's drying a little bit, I'm going to get into my rocks. So I'm taking ultramarine blue, a little bit of indigo. So you mix the two together, make one colour, and then I'm going to add in burnt sienna. That's going to give me a nice dark tone, but a warm dark tone, like that. Now for my rocks here, I'm going to put a few little rocks in. There's a little, you might be able to see, there's a little ripple of white there. So I'm just going to add to that by putting in the rocks around the white areas, make it look like it's almost like it's a fast water. Here we are, like that. And you can put a few little rocks at the edge that have fallen in. Just make that look more interesting. Now you can take that up a little, one or two up here, like that. Now I'm going to add in some darker tones here, there, around the bog. Where the bog is starting to, the top layers are starting to show, like here. There we are. And where you might get a run here and there, you can always go over with a dark line to hide any little runs that are forming. I'll just try and find one just there now, for example. There's one there. So I just put that in, even though that's wet. Just put that in there. There we go. Take that out of the picture. I'm also going to put in a few little rocks here and there on the bog. Like we have, like this area here now, for example, that little light tone there. So if I put a dark tone behind it, it's almost like you're highlighting the rock there. There's another one there, a couple here. That. Now I'm just conscious of time, and I want to get a little bit of work done on the bridge before I do this. So I'm just going to add a little bit of blue and just that stone colour, like this. Here we are. And while that's settling on, I can come back to another part then, and I'll finish that off then when we see how time goes for us. So you have an open face and you have a flat face. So I want to try and get in some darker tones just in around here, where there'll be less light. And then we tidy it all up then before we finish off. Now, I'm going to put a couple of people working on the bog over here. So I'm just going to take my indigo and my burnt sienna. I'm going to create some more bog areas like this. I'm going to be gathering stuff still fairly wet. Still fairly wet. Now, again, some areas like this. Now, the Ox Mountains, where this photograph was taken, is it's Sligo, Mayo area. Bit of it in Roscommon as well, and the runoff of water from this area is phenomenal, which goes into a lot of the rivers. There's the Garavogue River in Sligo, there's the Moy River in Ballina, and then there's all the little tributary rivers that flow into both of those main rivers. But the amount of water would be just unbelievable. I want to get in a few little reeds here. I'm doing this with a detail brush. You could do it with a rigger as well, but if you have these detail brushes, they're very fine as well as broad, so I can get that very thin brush stroke there, or I can go broad like that. So those sable brushes, they're a very good brush. Another brush that I found useful for this type of stuff is a brush made from mongoose hair, and if I get a chance I'll show you that before the end of the program. Now that's starting to take shape. I want to get a little bit darker, so a little bit more indigo. I want to get that into my bog scene there. So it's just some more indigo in here, just to give it almost a two-dimensional image, like that. I want to get somebody over here now working on this area, and I'm going to put my man in here. Now, his head, and he's doing a little bit of work there. Needs a bit of shadowing, and we get his friend. I don't want him there on his own. We get somebody else in here. A bit of work. Here we are. And a little bit more turf. Here we are. That's good. No, I'm fairly happy with that. I just want to create some little shadowed areas, and we are. Get my wall in a bit better. Very briefly, this is mongoose. I'm just going to use that very quickly. So there we are. This is a bog scene in the Ox Mountains in Sligo, and we have a couple of people there. They're saving the turf. And until the next time, this is Harry Feeney. Relax with watercolour. Goodbye.
Feel safe, feel secure. ATA Security.